According to the NPD Group, Grand Theft Auto 5 was the second best-selling game of August of 2017. But the bigger news is that it is now the best-selling game of all time in the United States. And I gotta ask a simple question. What does that potentially mean for Grand Theft Auto 6? What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. And we're going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 5, the NPD numbers from August that released yesterday. We're going to get into all that stuff and how Grand Theft Auto's huge success, being the best-selling game of all time, how could that potentially affect Grand Theft Auto 6? So yeah, NPD Group, if you don't know who they are, they collect all this data from all the different retailers, combine it on the list, and they give out every single month the top-selling games of the year, and the top-selling hardware, basically, like what won. And Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they all basically subscribe to this group's information, and they use it in their press releases. So on September 14th, which was yesterday, they released the numbers for August. And Madden, as usual, was number 1. But number 2 was Grand Theft Auto 5, which is a game that is 4 years old. Came out on the 360 in 2013 and was remastered on the Xbox One and PS4 in 2014. And they talk about its huge success here in this quote. Grand Theft Auto 5 has now been on the market for 49 months and has achieved 41 top 10 chart appearances, which is 16 more times than any other single title in reported history. In addition, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the all-time best-selling game by both revenue and units in track sales across PC, console, and portable, with digital and packaging combined. Jesus. Grand Theft Auto 5 is an absolute beast. Think about that. This is a game that released in 2013 on the 360 and the PS3 at the end of that gen, was then remastered in 2014, put on PC in 2015, and in that short frame of time, 4 years, it has become the biggest selling game of all time in the United States. I love the game, personally. I play it on the 360. I think it's my favorite Grand Theft Auto, but I don't think it's selling. The reason why it's still selling now, why it's month after month after month, it's still in the top 10, I don't think it really has to do with why I like the game, right? I love Grand Theft Auto for the campaign, for the story, for the things that you can do in the single player. One of those games where you can just get in and just screw around and not have to worry about anything. That's why I love Grand Theft Auto. But I think Grand Theft Auto has now shifted into that games as a service type thing. Every single month you hear about Grand Theft Auto Online, what they're doing. They just kind of released a PUBG update, or at least a Battle Royale thing, right? And every single month or every other month they're talking about free updates to Grand Theft Auto Online. And I think that is what is propelling the game to consistently sell in the top 10 every single month. Games as a service is here to stay, whether you like it or not. Look at Overwatch. Look at Rainbow Six Siege. The list goes on and on for games as a service type games. And Grand Theft Auto 5 is basically the poster child. It is the game that every publisher and developer look at and be like, let's do that. If we can just do that, then we'll be good. But let's look at the numbers for last month before we kind of get into what I think this means for Grand Theft Auto 6. So last month we had Madden as number 1. Grand Theft Auto 5 was ahead of Uncharted. Splatoon 2, Legend of Zelda, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Look at that. A game that came out in 2015 in the top 10. Keeps on selling. They just announced 20 million players. They have 2 million concurrent a day, basically. Games as a service, dude. Mario Kart, Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Overwatch. They also have the listings for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. You can kind of see the differences in the games and where they're positioned. They also gave out a list of the top 10 best-selling games of 2017 so far this year. And I love looking at this stuff. So this is just from January to August, so 8 months. Ghost Recon Wildlands, number 1 for the year. Really impressive. Must be a huge win for Ubisoft. Legend of Zelda number 2. Grand Theft Auto 5 is number 3. Think about that, guys. Grand Theft Auto 5, a game, a remaster that released in 2014, is the third best-selling game of 2017. 3 years later, the third best-selling game. Absolutely incredible. For Honor is number 4, pretty damn good for a new IP. Horizon Zero Dawn, pretty damn good for a new IP on one console as well. That's the 5th best. Injustice 2, Mass Effect Andromeda, Madden, NBA, Resident Evil 7. Now look at Mass Effect Andromeda. That is the 7th best-selling game of the year, and we know that EA has no plans on continuing the franchise. If you think about that, how expensive must that game have been if for the 7th best-selling game of 2017, for them not to continue on with the franchise and be the 7th best-selling? The budget for that game must have been ridiculous if they're not continuing to go on with a sequel. Man. And of course, the Switch was number 1. It outsold both the PlayStation and the Xbox. The Switch has basically outsold PS4 and Xbox every month since its release except for 2. And it's, in the video I did yesterday about the bundle with Sony, it's going to be an interesting holiday. Can Nintendo have the stock? And if they do, they'll probably end up beating PlayStation and Xbox. But if they don't, it very well could be PlayStation or it could be Xbox, depending on how things play out. But now, let's get back to Grand Theft Auto 5, the best-selling game of all time. How it's making billions for Rockstar, making billions for Take-Two, and how that could potentially impact Grand Theft Auto 6. Because you know it's going to. The success of this game is going to impact the development of 6 on some level, right? And I think we all can agree that the lasting success of Grand Theft Auto 5 is Grand Theft Auto Online. So how does that affect 6 going forward? They're obviously going to put more manpower to make sure that Grand Theft Auto Online, whatever they're going to call it, 2, Grand Theft Auto Online, it's going to have some multiplayer portion. My fear is that they will skimp out on the campaign, the thing that I care about in Grand Theft Auto, right? Grand Theft Auto 6, they better be a great campaign, but as this shows, they don't necessarily need a campaign because I feel the game is selling well because everybody plays the online, and that's why people are picking it up. There's always something new to do with the online, and the campaign is just like kind of one of those things like, well, I'll play it if I want to. So there's this dread in me that I think they're going to be chasing after the almighty dollar, as most of these companies do, and they'll put a heavy emphasis, the biggest emphasis on the online portion of Grand Theft Auto 6 and not give the care and attention needed for the story and the characters, the location and the settings that everybody loves in the campaign of Grand Theft Auto 6. But then I think, you know what? If there's one company that can do both, right, and have the budget needed to do both well, it's Rockstar. Because whenever they put out a Grand Theft Auto, you know it's going to sell millions. You know it's going to make billions. Because Grand Theft Auto is an event in the gaming industry. Like, it even like goes beyond gaming, right? It's like maybe the one last franchise, Halo kind of used to be that. When you go look like the Halo 2 and Halo 3, Halo used to be like that, which is so big that it transcended gaming. But Halo's fallen off. It's not what it used to be. Right? And the only other franchise right now that I think transcends gaming and to get even to the bigger, like, popular culture is Grand Theft Auto. And one of the reasons why is because they don't put them out every single year or every other year, like Call of Duty or Uncharted or Gears of War or even Halo for that matter. Grand Theft Auto is an event because of how rare and special an actual release of the game is. Think about it. Grand Theft Auto 4 came out in 2008. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013. That's a 5-year gap, right? We're in 2017. It's already been 4 years. They're releasing Red Dead Redemption in 2018. So who knows? Won't even be probably 2020 until we see Grand Theft Auto 6, which would have been 7 years or so. That's why one of the reasons why it's an event when Grand Theft Auto comes out. And they don't got to worry about their budget because it's going to sell. It's basically going to dominate gaming whenever it comes out. So maybe my worry of them focusing on the online is a little unfounded because they're the one studio that can probably do both. Do the online and do the campaign. But honestly, when you think about it, they're going to have to put a bigger emphasis on the online aspect. They didn't really put that big of an emphasis with the launch of Grand Theft Auto 5 because it was their first time doing online, right? But now they know that people want that. There's a contingent of people that love Grand Theft Auto right now, not because of the campaign, not because they grew up with Grand Theft Auto like I did. You know, the first time you played Grand Theft Auto 3 and was blown out of your mind because of what it meant for gaming, right? Or Grand Theft Auto Vice City and stuff. Like, the people who grew up they play Grand Theft Autos for the campaign, or at least I think they do. But now, a lot of people getting into gaming right now, you know, they're just getting PlayStations and Xboxes. They're buying Grand Theft Auto because their friends play it. They're playing the online with their friends. They don't necessarily care about the campaign. So you know there's going to be a bigger emphasis on the online when that game comes out. I'm just wondering how much will it be to the detriment of the campaign, right? And then the other issue is like, what if they make the game an online-only game? Grand Theft Auto is a big enough franchise where they could get away with being completely online-only. What if the single player and the multiplayer are basically merged into an online thing, similar to Destiny, for example? You know, these are the things I think about because you know the success of Grand Theft Auto 5 being the best-selling game of all time is going to impact Rockstar. They're going to try to chase that. They're going to try to make Grand Theft Auto 6 the best-selling game of all time. And they're going to do that because they're going to focus on the multiplayer because I'm sure the data they get from everybody is that this is the reason people continue to buy Grand Theft Auto month after month after month after month after month. And I'm just wondering how it's going to impact what I like about Grand Theft Auto, which is the campaign and the story it tells. Interesting to think about. And also, who knows when it's coming out? Like I said, 2020, 2021, who knows? Anyways, guys, that's the video for today. What do you think about all this? What do you think about Grand Theft Auto 5 being the best-selling game of all time? When do you think 6 is going to come out? What do you think about all these numbers from the NPD? I find all this stuff fascinating, which is why I made a video about it. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below about anything in the video. I'll make sure to check it all out. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button as it helps me out tremendously. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already or if you're new. Thank you guys so much for watching. It does mean a lot to me. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day and a good weekend. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Later.